There is no doubt that Ukrainian drones changed the course of the war. Drone operators in the Ukrainian army have become highly skilled in their work, inflicting serious losses on Russian soldiers, tanks, artillery, and even drones. Now let's examine an example. A drone takes off and pursues Russian motorized units that have been detected. The result is a successful operation, and the Russian motorized units are destroyed. Now let's listen to the conversations of Ukrainian drone operators heading into the operation.
As you could have guessed, we are on our way to the positions. Our exciting trip should last for about 15 minutes. If everything goes well, then we are at the position, and basically our plan is to wait till the sun rises to launch the Vampire drones. Mission today is Vampire drone plus napalm and minus one village full of enemies.
In the current image, there is something the Russian soldiers trying to take shelter in a house wreckage without being detected by Ukrainian drones do not know. They have already been spotted. There is no place where Russian soldiers can escape or hide from Ukrainian drones on the battlefield. Russian soldiers thought they were camouflaged among the trees, but it was a big mistake to think they could escape the eyes of Ukrainian drones. Ukrainian drone operators are well-trained, highly experienced in this field, and have gained extensive experience through countless operations. Identifying targets and eliminating them is now as easy as breathing for them. Russian soldiers are desperately trying to escape, trying to hide. There is not much they can do. Even if they are psychologically exhausted, the outcome is the same for them. They cannot escape, and they cannot hide. Wherever they are, an invisible threat hangs over them at all times. These metal birds, gliding silently through the sky and finding their targets with pinpoint accuracy, are watching their every move. Drones are no longer just reconnaissance vehicles. They are silent destroyers that select targets with cold calculations and carry out irreversible decisions. The military order has collapsed, morale is low, and trenches are no longer safe. Every rock, every tree shadow, every abandoned building is now a trap. Every place they hide is turning into a target board. Drones track not only movement, but also fear. The panic in their breathing, the haste in their steps, the anxiety in their eyes. All of it is converted into signals by these observation machines. War is no longer fought only with weapons, but also with the ruthlessness of technology. These small but deadly vehicles of the Ukrainian army are weaving invisible nets across hundreds of kilometers of front lines. For every Russian soldier who falls into that net, there is almost no way back. Their every step is tracked, their every move recorded, and most importantly, no corner remains in the dark. A soldier is running. Perhaps he is using his last chance, or perhaps he is running even though he knows he will never get anywhere. He is shaken by the force of the explosion behind him. He cannot even turn around, because he knows that a drone is watching him from above and has already locked onto his position for another attack. This is the quietest but most effective form of attack in modern warfare. Drones have changed the nature of war. Ambushes have now been replaced by sudden strikes from high altitudes. Trenches have completely lost their former security. Over time, Russian soldiers have come to fear not only physical attacks, but also invisible threats. The battlefield is now dominated not only by the ground, but also by the sky. As they try to advance, silent eyes from above monitor their every move. Drones provide superiority, not only in numbers, but also in strategy. A large unit is advancing through the forest. Their footsteps are silent, their orders whispered. But above, a drone has already taken up position. As soon as the crowd gathers, it releases its deadly payload. The sudden explosion is mixed with the screams of soldiers who cannot even comprehend what has happened. This new form of warfare has created a constant threat for Russian soldiers, rather than hope. The places where they can hide are dwindling. Their faces are turned toward the ground, their eyes toward the sky. Because now the threat comes from above. These machines, invisible to the eye, silent, flying only to destroy, don't even give them a chance to take a step. Drones have turned traditional battle formations upside down. Fixed targets, mobile units, escape routes, all of these, which should have been advantages, have become traps. The places where they hide make them even more visible. Every movement, every attempt to escape, turns them into bigger targets. In this war, knowing that the enemy is not just in front of you, but above you, breaks a soldier's spirit. When there's nowhere left to run, even hiding is useless. Ukraine's drone operations have provided not just physical, but psychological superiority. The sky has become a constant source of pressure against Russian troops. After each explosion, silence descends. But this silence is not the familiar peace. On the contrary, it heralds the next attack. Russian soldiers look up most during these moments. There is a threat there that is invisible, but constantly felt. Even the slightest movement is enough for them to be detected. Drones do not wait. They give no warning and allow no time. They approach silently, lock on to their target, and suddenly destroy it. Sometimes, even a single soldier becomes a target. Someone walking alone, trying to move from one trench to another, or even just lying down and trying to breathe. It doesn't matter to the drones. The number is irrelevant. Whether there are one or dozens, all that matters is that the target is identified. The sky is now the deadliest battlefield. And in this field, there is an invisible, silent dominance. Ukraine's drone force. Escape is almost impossible. Not the shade of trees, not abandoned buildings, not even holes dug in the ground. None of them are safe. Drones see every detail from above. The helplessness of the soldiers mixes with surrender at a certain point. They try to hide not only their bodies, but also their hopes. But even despair cannot escape these observers. These technologically equipped aircraft render traditional tactics useless. In the past, a soldier's advance was determined only by the threat coming from the front. Now the threat comes from an unexpected place. The sky, silent, invisible, and inevitable. Drones surround them not only physically, but also mentally. Every step leaves a trace, every trace a target, and every target destruction. Those waiting in the trenches are not safe either. Sometimes they wait motionless for a long time, just to stay alive. But the eyes watching from above are impatient. The slightest movement, change in temperature, change of position, each is sufficient reason for an attack. When the explosion comes, they often don't even understand what caused it. Only the echo of destruction remains. In the images, we see soldiers running and suddenly collapsing to the ground, faces in the trenches looking up in horror. These are the most striking moments of modern warfare. The attempt to escape, the hope of hiding, and then the sudden annihilation. All of this becomes a cycle. A soldier runs, a drone follows, a soldier stops, a drone targets, and then the explosion. Again and again. This cycle repeats itself on every front line. It doesn't matter if it's a different day, a different region, or a different soldier. The drone's approach is always the same. Target identified, tracked, destroyed. It's a process that takes only minutes, but it leaves behind devastating effects. Fear, indecision, and helplessness. Each follows the other. Over time, it is not the fighting power of Russian soldiers that begins to wane in the face of these attacks, but their will to live. Being constantly on alert, constantly feeling like a target, wears down the mind as much as the body. Some choose to stay put and try their luck, but luck is no longer a factor in this war. The sky knows no exceptions. Once a target is identified, the outcome is inevitable. The Ukrainian army's drones do not only achieve military success, they also increase psychological pressure. Fighting for the enemy is no longer just about advancing, but about running away, hiding, and waiting in order to survive. But waiting does not bring salvation. The sky is always there, silently, watching, waiting. Some images show several soldiers trying to get into a trench. They are in a hurry. Their footsteps mingle, but the drone has already taken up position. The explosion ends not only their lives, but also the silence around them. Then only smoke rises, and the only thing left in the image is stillness. This stillness actually tells the whole story. It speaks of the impossibility of escape, the inadequacy of hiding, the deadly power of technology, and the fact that war no longer comes face to face, but from above. Every attack from the sky reminds Russian soldiers of one thing. There is no longer any safe place. This new face of war strikes with its silence. No prior sound, no warning, no recognized time frame for escape. Every drone gliding down from above shatters the fear hiding behind the shadows. The endless cycle of threat that Russian soldiers are experiencing is a sign that it is not just the front line that has changed, but the very nature of war itself. As they fled, the drones followed. As they hid, the drones closed in. Their every step, every breath was recorded from above. They became invisible but inescapable targets. In modern warfare, it is the invisible who win. And the invisible are the silent but deadly witnesses in the sky. No wall is thick enough, no trench deep enough. Drones are not just destroying targets, they are shattering beliefs. Every new day is another day when another soldier leaves their hopes behind in the sky. Because in this war, there is no mercy from above. Drones are patient, determined, and unforgiving. The images remind us of one truth. You cannot escape the shadow of war if that shadow comes from above. Neither experience, nor numbers, nor physical strength. In this war, what matters is the will of those who control the sky. And Ukraine's will is embodied in drones. They are cool-headed, systematic, and ruthlessly accurate. The result is always the same. A soldier running, a target exploding, a group taking cover, followed by collapse. This repeating cycle has become a fate for Russian troops. And this fate is no longer just a matter of life and death, but the real-time experience of an inevitable end. The Ukrainian army's dominance in the sky is not merely a tactic, but a strategy in itself. The enemy can be seen even before they move. The enemy is tracked even before they think. While the enemy believes they are hiding, they have already been targeted. Drones have become a force of surveillance and destruction that transcends time and space. Escape is no longer a solution. Hiding is no longer an option. The only reality. The sky is above and always watching. What are your thoughts on this matter? We would appreciate it if you could share your opinions in the comments section. Thank you for following us. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, turn on notifications, and like our content to stay updated and support us.